You walk through your days unaware that the fabric of your reality is woven from threads you have normalized. Patterns, beliefs, habits quiet, agreements made with yourself and the world that shape not just your actions, but your identity. Carl Jung taught us that the unconscious molds the conscious, and what you normalize becomes the soil in which your destiny takes root. This is the silent law of becoming. What you normalize, you become. Think about that. The small compromises you make, the negative thoughts you tolerate, the toxic relationships you accept, the mediocre standards you settle for, they are not just passing moments. They are the architects of your future self. You normalize mediocrity and you become mediocre. You normalize fear and you become timid. You normalize excuses and you become stagnant. This is the battlefield of your transformation. Every day, every choice, you cast a vote for the person you will become. The mind, in its hunger for certainty, gravitates toward patterns. It clings to the familiar, even if familiar is pain or limitation. This craving for safety is the force that keeps you trapped in cycles of unconscious becoming. Enter Cyphoria, the intoxicating haze where avoidance masquerades as relief. It's the seductive escape that whispers, stay small, stay comfortable, stay the same. But every time you give in to Cyphoria, you deepen the roots of the self you say you want to leave behind. This is the tragedy of normalized avoidance. It feels good in the moment, but steals the future. Yet, awareness of this cycle is the first step toward breaking it. Your mindset is the control center. It can be the prison or the launch pad. To disrupt the cycle, you must choose what you normalize. You must consciously decide which thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors you welcome into your life's ecosystem. Belief is the fuel for this process, but not the shallow optimism found in memes or empty affirmations. Real belief is forged in the crucible of discipline and clarity. It's the stubborn refusal to accept less than what you're capable of becoming. When belief aligns with action, it rewires your brain, creating new pathways that reinforce growth and possibility. Clarity sharpens your vision. It reveals the unconscious agreements you've been making with limitation and illuminates the alternatives. Clarity demands brutal honesty. It calls you to name what you've normalized, whether it's fear, complacency, self-doubt, and to confront it without flinching. Only then can you dismantle the old foundations and build new ones. Your vision emerges from this clarity. It is no longer a vague hope, but a burning imperative. Vision is the compass that guides you beyond normalized patterns toward uncharted territory. It is the declaration of the person you refuse to settle for and the life you are determined to claim. Purpose is the engine that powers this evolution. It anchors your vision in meaning, giving your journey significance beyond personal gain. Purpose ignites your commitment to reject normalized smallness and embody the fullness of your potential. Discipline becomes the sacred practice that enforces this commitment. It is the daily act of choosing growth over comfort, truth over convenience, mastery over mediocrity. Discipline is not punishment. It is the respect you pay to the future self who depends on you to normalize greatness today. Action translates discipline into transformation. It is the bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. Each deliberate choice, each step beyond comfort, reshapes your identity. Action breaks the spell of normalization and imprints new patterns into your being. Gratitude deepens your connection to this journey. It anchors your growth in humility and joy, transforming struggle into grace. Gratitude rewires your nervous system to recognize abundance, reinforcing the new norms you are creating. Adaptability ensures your evolution is resilient and dynamic. As you break old patterns, life will challenge you to revert. Adaptability is the skill of navigating these challenges without surrendering to old normalizations. It keeps your momentum alive through change. Resilience is the backbone of this transformation. It is the capacity to withstand setbacks, learn from failure, and continue expanding despite obstacles. Resilience turns the fractures in your story into the foundation for a new narrative. Learning fuels your ongoing becoming. It is the conscious cultivation of wisdom that prevents relapse into old normalizations. Learning keeps your mind sharp and your spirit open to the endless possibilities of growth. This is the sacred cycle of transformation: awareness, choice, action, reflection, and renewal. The self you become is not accidental. It is a masterpiece crafted by what you normalize every day. So ask yourself, what am I normalizing? Is it fear or courage? Limitation or possibility? Excuses or excellence? Drama or discipline? Your answers will shape not just your next moment, but your entire destiny. Because what you normalize, you become, and in that becoming lies your power to create the life and the self you were always meant to be. Normalization is subtle, like the gradual shifting of tides. You barely notice until the shore has changed beneath your feet. It's the unnoticed habits that shape your days, the casual words you repeat, the unchallenged beliefs that whisper in your mind. These small, seemingly insignificant acceptances accumulate, stacking like stones until they build a wall around your potential. You might normalize being tired, thinking exhaustion is simply the price of success. You might normalize scarcity, believing there's never enough time, money, or opportunity. You might normalize toxic relationships, settling for connection that drains rather than uplifts. Each normalization is a thread in the fabric of your identity, binding you to patterns that limit your growth. But here lies the paradox. Normalization is not fate. It is choice. And choices, no matter how small, hold the power to redefine who you become. Change begins in the spaces between moments, those seconds where you decide whether to react unconsciously or respond with intention. It is in these gaps that you reclaim agency over your narrative. When you learn to interrupt the habitual patterns, you create room for transformation. Imagine your mind as a garden. Every thought you tolerate is a seed planted. Will you cultivate weeds of doubt and complacency, or will you nurture the flowers of courage and curiosity? The quality of your garden depends on what you decide to normalize. Your emotions are the weather in this garden. Syphoria, the allure of emotional highs and lows, storms through, tempting you to seek drama as a form of escape or validation. But when you detach from this cycle, you stabilize the climate, creating a fertile environment for sustainable growth. This detachment demands mindfulness, a rigorous awareness of your inner landscape. You must watch without judgment the narratives your mind tells you, discerning which serve your evolution and which sabotage it. Mindset becomes the master gardener, tending carefully to the seeds you allow to take root. Belief strengthens the soil. It infuses your garden with nutrients drawn from your vision and purpose. When belief is deep and unwavering, it nourishes resilience and fuels the persistence needed to uproot destructive patterns. Clarity clears the weeds. It shines light on the unconscious beliefs and normalized behaviors that choke your growth. Clarity requires courage, a willingness to face discomfort and uncertainty, to dismantle the familiar in pursuit of the extraordinary. Purpose sets the boundaries of your garden. It defines what you will protect fiercely and what you will remove without hesitation. Purpose is the compass that guides your cultivation, ensuring every effort aligns with your highest self. Discipline waters the seeds daily. It is a consistent commitment to nurture positive habits, to prune away distractions, and to celebrate incremental progress. Discipline transforms fleeting motivation into enduring transformation. Action is the sunlight that brings your garden to life. It activates your intentions, turning ideas into reality. Without action, belief remains dormant and clarity remains theoretical. Action animates your purpose. Gratitude is the gentle rain that refreshes your spirit. It reminds you to honor the growth already achieved and to appreciate the process itself. Gratitude deepens your connection to the present moment and fortifies your resilience. Adaptability is the gardener's wisdom, the ability to adjust to changing conditions, to experiment with new methods, and to recover from setbacks. Adaptability ensures your growth is not rigid but fluid and sustainable. Resilience is the roots anchoring your garden during storms. It holds you steady when external pressures threaten to uproot your progress. Resilience transforms challenges into strength. Learning is the continual refinement of your gardening skills. It keeps you open to new insights, evolving techniques, and deeper self-awareness. Learning prevents stagnation and fosters innovation. Every choice to normalize excellence over mediocrity, courage over fear, growth over comfort, is a seed that blossoms into your future self. The life you desire is the harvest of what you allow yourself to become. So begin now. Question what you have normalized. Challenge the patterns that no longer serve you. Choose consciously what you cultivate within, because the garden of your mind is sacred, and what you normalize becomes your legacy. This journey, this relentless questioning and choosing, is the alchemy of transformation. It demands you become a warrior of your own consciousness, vigilant against the seductive pull of old norms that bind you to mediocrity. It calls you to embody radical responsibility, where every thought, every habit, every reaction is a deliberate act of self-definition. You will confront resistance, internal voices steeped in doubt, external forces eager to keep you small. But know this, resistance is the shadow of growth. Nietzsche spoke of the necessity to embrace struggle as the crucible of greatness. Your challenges are the anvil on which your new self is forged. Each moment of resistance faced without retreat strengthens the muscle of your becoming. This is where clarity meets courage. To uproot normalized patterns, you must stare into the abyss of your conditioning and refuse to blink. It is not a comfortable gaze. It shakes the foundations of identity. But through this discomfort, a new narrative emerges, one written by your conscious choice, not unconscious habit. Your vision crystallizes here, not as a distant dream, but as a living blueprint for your evolution. It demands more than desire. It requires unwavering commitment to the process of becoming. This vision is a lighthouse in the fog, guiding you beyond the familiar shores of old normalizations into the expansive seas of possibility. Purpose fuels this voyage. It is the compass that keeps you on course when the waves of distraction threaten to veer you off path. Purpose connects your daily actions to a greater meaning, transforming effort into legacy. Discipline becomes your steadfast companion, not the rigid imposition of will, but the loving cultivation of habits that reinforce your highest self. Discipline is the sacred repetition that carves new neural pathways, rewriting the script of what you accept and what you reject. Action is the engine of transformation. Without it, belief remains wishful thinking, and clarity remains theoretical. Every intentional step dismantles old constructs and erects the architecture of your new identity. Action turns normalization from passive acceptance into active creation. Gratitude weaves humility and joy into this tapestry. It reminds you that transformation is both struggle and celebration, loss and gain. Gratitude connects you to the richness of your journey, anchoring your evolution in presence rather than fixation on outcomes. Adaptability sharpens your resilience. Life will throw curveballs, temptations to revert, and unexpected shifts. Your ability to pivot without losing sight of your vision ensures that your becoming is sustainable and fluid. Resilience fortifies your spirit, transforming setbacks into fuel. Each fall teaches balance. Each scar tells a story of survival and growth. Resilience is the quiet force that sustains you when the path is steep and the summit unseen. Learning is your perpetual evolution. It dismantles arrogance, fosters curiosity, and propels you beyond complacency. Through learning, you deepen your mastery over self and circumstance, ensuring your normalized patterns align with your highest potential. In the end, the self you become is the product of what you allow to be normal. Choose wisely. Normalize courage over fear, growth over stagnation, integrity over convenience. Each choice shapes the contours of your destiny. Your life is not a random series of events, but a reflection of your normalized beliefs and actions. This realization is not a burden, but a liberation. The power to redefine your narrative and become the author of your own epic. So rise now, break free from the unconscious chains of normalized limitation. Step into the sacred space of conscious becoming. Because what you normalize today is who you will become tomorrow. You stand at the crossroads of habit and awakening, where the familiar whispers seductively and the unknown calls with the promise of transformation. Here, the battle is not with the world, but within the silent war between the comfort of what is and the courage to become what could be. Every moment you accept less than your full potential, you reinforce the architecture of limitation. Every concession to fear, doubt, or complacency tightens the chains that bind your spirit. But every act of defiance, every refusal to normalize mediocrity is a crack in that prison. And those cracks become the gateways to freedom. Remember Nietzsche's words, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your why is the fire that ignites your rebellion against normalized smallness. It is the vision that pulls you through discomfort, the purpose that anchors you amid uncertainty, the discipline that carries you when motivation wanes. Your mind is the battlefield where this war is fought. Training it is not about suppression, but transformation, recognizing destructive patterns, confronting shadow beliefs, and reprogramming your internal narrative. This requires relentless self-awareness and the courage to rewrite the scripts that no longer serve you. Belief is the beacon in this darkness. It is not naive optimism, but a hard-earned conviction born from confronting your limitations and choosing to transcend them. Belief fuels clarity, sharpening your focus until distractions fall away and your path becomes undeniable. Clarity births vision, no longer a distant dream, but a tangible mission. This vision demands action, and through disciplined practice, action becomes habit. Habits form the scaffolding of your new identity, reinforcing what you normalize and dissolving what you reject. Gratitude grounds you in the process, transforming the grind into grace. It rewires your perception to see progress, not just perfection, to appreciate the journey, not just the destination. Gratitude is the fertile soil from which resilience sprouts. Resilience is your armor, forged in the fires of challenge. It teaches you that setbacks are not failures, but lessons, that pain can be a catalyst for growth, and that persistence is the bridge between desire and fulfillment. Adaptability is your strategy. It grants you fluidity in the face of change, the wisdom to pivot without losing purpose, and the humility to learn from every twist and turn. Learning is the engine that drives continuous evolution. It expands your capacity, deepens your insight, and keeps your normalized patterns aligned with your expanding potential. This is the alchemy of becoming, a relentless cycle of awareness, choice, action, and reflection. It demands nothing less than your full presence and commitment. So now ask yourself, what will you normalize? What future self will you choose to become? The answer lies not in distant hopes, but in the daily patterns you cultivate, the standards you uphold, and the truths you live by. Because in the end, your life is the sum of your normalized choices. Choose wisely. Normalize greatness. Become unstoppable. As you step deeper into this truth, you begin to see the profound power of ritual. in shaping what you normalize. Rituals, those repeated actions performed with intention, are the daily votes cast for the self you wish to embody. They are the sacred commitments that anchor you when motivation wanes and distractions multiply. A morning routine, a moment of stillness, a deliberate pause before reaction, these are not mere habits. They are the forging fires of identity. Consider the weight of a single choice made consistently over time. Choosing to speak kindly to yourself instead of with self-criticism, choosing to pursue growth rather than comfort, choosing to stand firm in your values when the crowd whispers conformity. Each choice, multiplied across days and weeks, reshapes the contours of your being. The mind, like clay, takes the shape of repeated impressions. This is the essence of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experience. By consciously normalizing empowering thoughts and behaviors, you sculpt a new neurological architecture that supports your highest self. But beware the subtlety of unconscious normalization. It creeps in through neglect, distraction, and acquiescence. Left unchecked, it festers into patterns that erode your vitality and dim your light. This is why vigilance is a lifelong practice, a sacred watchfulness over what you allow to define your internal world. Embrace the paradox that transformation is both radical and incremental. It is the profound shifts born from tiny, consistent choices, the monumental evolution arising from daily discipline. This understanding dissolves the myth of overnight success and replaces it with the empowering truth of persistent becoming. Surround yourself with environments that reflect the standards you wish to normalize. Physical spaces, social circles, media consumption all serve as mirrors and molders of your psyche. Curate these with intentionality, for they either reinforce your growth or anchor you in old narratives. As you cultivate this ecosystem, recognize the role of self-compassion. The path of transformation is riddled with setbacks and stumbles. Normalizing harsh judgment only perpetuates cycles of failure. Instead, nurture a compassionate inner dialogue that acknowledges imperfection while recommitting to progress. This compassion fuels resilience, the ability to recover and advance despite adversity. It is the engine that propels you through discomfort and uncertainty toward expanded possibility. Learning remains your compass. Commit to continuous inquiry and openness. Challenge assumptions, explore new paradigms, and integrate wisdom from diverse sources. This hunger for growth ensures that what you normalize evolves alongside your expanding consciousness. In this grand design, your life becomes a living testament to the power of normalization. You shift from being a passive recipient of conditioning to an active creator of your destiny. Each day, you build not just habits, but a legacy, a pattern of excellence that ripples outward, influencing those around you and generations to come. So now, choose with clarity and courage. Select what you normalize with unwavering intention. Elevate your standards, embody the greatness waiting to emerge. Because what you normalize today, you become tomorrow. And who you become will change everything. The moment you grasp this truth, a profound shift occurs. Your perception of time transforms from a relentless ticking clock to a canvas of opportunity, each second a chance to affirm who you are becoming. You start to live with the awareness that your daily rituals, your smallest decisions, carry the weight of destiny. This awareness fuels an urgency not born from panic, but from reverence. Reverence for the fleeting nature of life and the immense power held within each choice. You cease to live passively, no longer swept along by the currents of circumstance or conditioned responses. Instead, you step into the driver's seat, steering with precision and purpose. The battlefield of your mind, once cluttered with distractions and doubt, becomes a sanctuary of focus. Here, the fog of normalized mediocrity lifts, revealing the clear path forward. You cultivate mental discipline, training your attention to dwell on what serves your growth and swiftly dismiss what undermines it. This disciplined focus expands beyond your inner world. It reshapes how you engage with relationships, work, and challenges. You no longer tolerate dynamics that reinforce limiting beliefs. You set boundaries that honor your evolving self. You pursue goals aligned with your highest vision, not those imposed by societal expectation or fleeting desire. With this alignment, your actions acquire unprecedented potency. Each step is no longer random or reactionary, but intentional and impactful. Momentum builds not from frenetic effort, but from consistent, aligned movement. You become a force that reshapes your environment, influencing not through noise, but through undeniable presence. Gratitude becomes the lens through which you view progress. It reframes obstacles as lessons and setbacks as redirections. Gratitude anchors you in the present, cultivating contentment without complacency. It fosters joy in the journey, transforming the grind into grace. Adaptability sharpens your edge in an ever-changing world. You embrace uncertainty not as threat but as invitation. Flexibility becomes your ally, allowing you to pivot with resilience and wisdom. Through adaptability, your normalized patterns evolve to meet the demands of new challenges. Resilience stands as your foundation, unshaken by adversity. It is the quiet strength that carries you through storms, the unyielding commitment to rise after every fall. Resilience transforms scars into symbols of survival and growth. Learning fuels your continual evolution. You remain a student of life, open to new insights, willing to unlearn and relearn. This humility keeps you from stagnation, propelling you into ever-expanding realms of possibility. Through this relentless cycle of awareness, choice, and action, you reconstruct your identity. The self you normalize becomes the self you embody, radiating authenticity and power. So rise with intention, curate your thoughts, guard your habits, choose your beliefs, because what you normalize is not merely who you are today, it is the foundation of the legacy you leave behind. Become the architect of your becoming, and watch as your life transforms into a masterpiece of deliberate creation. Now, stand firm in this truth. The life you live tomorrow is forged by what you normalize today. Your thoughts, your habits, your beliefs, they are the seeds of your destiny. To become who you truly are, you must consciously choose what you accept as normal. This is your invitation to reclaim your power, to reject the smallness, the excuses, the limiting patterns you once tolerated, to rise above the noise and step into the fullness of your potential. Because when you understand that what you normalize, you begin to craft a life not by chance but by choice, a life of purpose, a life of greatness, a life worthy of your deepest dreams. So choose wisely, normalize courage, normalize growth, normalize relentless pursuit of your highest self, and in doing so, become the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. Your legacy away. Go build it.